It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films of May 12, 2006. We are in the beginning of the summer movie season, and we do have one big blockbuster, and then one sort of blockbuster-ish, mostly counter-programming film with Lindsay Lohan, and then a couple of smaller movies in general. But before we get to those films, of course, let's get to the biggest new release of the weekend, which was, of course, Wolfgang Petersen's remake of the classic film, The Poseidon Adventure, simply known as Poseidon.
Something's off.
You stay here or you die!
You think you can get us off this boat?
I can.
Poseidon in theaters everywhere this summer.
So the plot really does kind of just go through the same storyline as the other movies have, and the book this is based off of course. On New Year's Eve, the luxury ocean liner Poseidon capsizes after being swamped by a rogue wave. The survivors are left to fight for their lives as they attempt to escape the sinking ship. And you see in that trailer there a pretty stacked cast overall: Kurt Russell, Richard Dreyfuss, Josh Lucas, Andre Braugher, Emmy Rossum, Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas is also in here, Jacinda Barrett. There is a lot of really notable names in here, and unfortunately the movie was not the big hit that I think the studio really wanted. In fact, it actually flopped pretty badly. And I say unfortunately because I didn't think the movie was all that bad. In fact, there's a lot of times in the film where there was a lot that I really did appreciate about it. The visual spectrum of the whole movie is incredible. Like the ship getting attacked by the wave. It's actually really well done, and the visuals really are impressive to look at. But as I've always said, visuals don't make the movie. You gotta have good characters, you gotta have a good storyline, and unfortunately, the rest of the movie isn't that compelling whatsoever because the characters aren't really all that memorable in general. They're just kind of just stock generic characters, you know. You got the characters that we've seen so many times in other disaster movies like this, and unfortunately, there's no real good writing here to really give these characters a boost overall in terms of like give us a reason why we should be rooting them on to get out of here. And there's just nothing there, unfortunately. It's a shame because there is a lot to admire about the film from the technical level, and you know it takes what was a pretty good 1970s movie, which was nominated for several Oscars too, by the way. This was back when the Academy Awards actually cared about all the movies that came out and didn't just shove the blockbusters aside for the smaller movies. No, this was back when they gave a shit about movies like the original Poseidon Adventure, which would have never gotten nominated if it was made today for Best Picture. Not by any means necessary. It was actually nominated for several big awards back then, but that movie worked because there were characters in there that you did get invested in. There was a lot of ambition and a lot of storyline that the audience got invested into. And unfortunately, the ambition is there, just everything else really isn't. It's a shame because there's a lot that I liked about it, but it's not enough for me to say that it's something that you should give it a watch overall. It's just not a very good movie overall, unfortunately. And it's a shame. It's a shame because there is so much there to admire about the film in general from the visual spectrum, but unfortunately, everything else from the casting that's really good, but unfortunately not given a lot to work with the characters in general and the storyline. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate mess of a film. And yeah, not much more I can say about this one, unfortunately. A major disappointment, but stuff I liked about it to say that it's on the cusp of saying it's watchable just for the special effects, but even then, it's not worth it for me to say you should definitely check it out, unfortunately. Yeah. So, mostly a mixed opinion on Poseidon. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and ladies and gentlemen, the movie that killed Lindsay Lohan's movie career. I know you think it's Georgia Rule, I know you think it's I Know Who Killed Me, but they contributed it, but no, this was the first movie that really broke the trend.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
6 o'clock?
Okay. I thought we were taking a jet.
This takes us to the jet.
This is definitely going in my diary.
Ashley is a good luck charm.
This isn't mine. This is it. Sarah Jessica Parker's.
You are the luckiest person in the world.
Taxi! Please tell her that I'm not lucky.
We were voted prom queen at Franklin High.
So,
We went to Jefferson.
Jake is a bad luck magnet.
You're fired.
You're firing me. You don't even pay me.
But on one special night,
I was just about to ask this lovely lady to dance.
one kiss switched their luck.
Who was that? I don't know. My shoe. My dress.
Taxi! You saved my life. There's got to be a way I can repay you. Is it just me or did I just get lucky? Ashley Albright, you're under arrest.
It's just about Sarah Jessica Parker's dress.
That's my seat.
You're fired. Is this your floor, too?
This is my new apartment?
Home theater, satellite TV.
Did anything unusual happen at that party?
I kissed your guy, but... So does that mean that he took my luck from me?
Yeah, this movie really was the one that killed it. I mean, you know, Herbie Fully Loaded was not a big hit the year before compared to Mean Girls and, you know, Freaky Friday from Lindsay beforehand, but that was still a hit that people went to go see. Nobody went to go see this, and this unfortunately started a downward trend for Lindsay Lohan that took a while for her to get back to. And she stars in this movie as Ashley Albright, who works in public relations and is the luckiest person in Manhattan, when Jake Harden, played by Chris Pine, is a janitor and would-be music producer who seems to have terrible luck until their good and bad luck is switched upon kissing each other at a masquerade ball, which changes both their lives and leads them to meet each other once again. A concept that could be funny if it was given the right material to work with to actually make us really appreciate the characters overall, but you really do not like any of these people in this movie whatsoever. Lindsay Lohan just comes off as a stock character, like Chris Pine is trying his best to hold it together, but this was still back when they were still really struggling to find an identity for him as an actor in general, but he's still got a couple of years before we eventually know him as what he'll eventually become better known for as Captain Kirk in the Star Trek movies. But this is directed by Donald Petrie too, and Donald Petrie's made some movies I've liked. I liked Richie Rich. I liked Miss Congeniality. But then again, he's directed a lot of stuff I have not liked. He directed The Grumpy Old Man, which is one I really liked. But then he did stuff like Welcome to Mooseport and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and My Favorite Martian. And yeah, he's a mixed bag of a director overall. And unfortunately, the film itself, just that trailer alone, I had to cut it off because you could kind of tell what kind of a movie this is. This is a film that is just... It's just a blown up big screen pilot for a TV series. Like, this would be something that would be seen as a new ABC series to follow, you know, Modern Family or Abbott Elementary or even on CBS. You know, be part of that Monday lineup, probably after How I Met Your Mother, sandwiched between How I Met Your Mother and Everybody Loves Raymond, or at this point 2.5 Men. But yeah, it's just not a good movie. You don't like the characters whatsoever. You don't like the storyline. They're just stock characters. Their relationship isn't that believable. The chemistry just isn't working. And it's just not funny. It's just not an enjoyable movie by any means necessary. It's a lazy film. A much better talent, I think, could have been put to just a better use and make it a fun, high energy comedy, an ambitious comedy, if you will, like a more bigger budgeted comedy in general. But unfortunately, it's just not there in this movie, and it's just not a good film whatsoever. So yeah, a hard skip on Just My Luck. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Let's get to some good movies finally. Here's one that I saw that did not think I was going to like, but that came out of nowhere. Goal, The Dream Begins.
You think you deserve it?
I know I do.
From Touchstone Pictures,
It is now quite a day for this young man.
one man's extraordinary journey
That's my son. That's my boy, Santiago.
is about to begin. Kuno Becker. Goal. The Dream Begins.
Who would have guessed this would turn into a franchise? They actually have made some sequels to this movie. There's actually a trilogy out there. And in this movie, you have Santiago Muniz, played by Kuno Becker, who's an amateur soccer player who earns an unlikely chance to play professional football, or soccer, if you want to put it that way. And it's one that really came out of nowhere. It's a film that I remember hearing about, I remember seeing in the stores, and I just never really took the time to watch it. It did eventually become later on Disney Plus and then Hulu, and I figured, there's nothing else on there, I might as well go check it out. And I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed it. This is directed by Danny Cannon, who, the last time I think he directed a film in theaters, it was Judge Dredd, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very wrong on that, but Well, then again, I am wrong, but the last thing he directed, though, was not any better. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. This is actually the last film he ever directed. I think he went back mostly to television, but I think what makes it work is the script by Dick Clement and Ian LaFreniere, who have written some stuff I've actually really liked in the past. They wrote Flushed Away, which is a really good DreamWorks film, Armin film we'll get to later on in the year, Across the Universe, which is a criminally underrated musical with the songs of the Beatles. He also wrote Never Say Never Again with James Bond involved. This with Sean Connery as James Bond. Vice Versa, one of the few body switch comedies with Fred Savage and Judge Reinhold that actually worked back in the 1980s. This is they put their hands on this. It's a really, really enjoyable film. It's an encouraging story where you want to follow this guy all the way to, becoming the soccer star that you eventually become in this film. And it's a very intriguing and very entertaining film that I think works because you like the main characters a lot, you like their motivations, you want to see where they're going to go in life, and it's a very good, inspiring story overall. Even if you're not the biggest soccer person, like I'm not a soccer person in general, but I did get easily invested in the storyline pretty quickly, and I will say that, yeah, it's indeed definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend checking it out. Gold: A Dream Begins. Haven't seen the sequel yet, but I'll probably get to it at some point, but the first one I really like, Gold: A Dream Begins. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, probably the most underrated film I saw that came out on this weekend, Keeping Up with the Steins.
Gifts in life. I just want to tell you that I think you're a great son who's on his way to becoming a great man. Are the ones that can't be bought.
Oh, very clever. He's saying, I'm so rich, I don't have to try to impress anyone.
Well, then why'd we spend $500,000?
Keeping up with the Steins.
Today, you are a man. Today, you are a man.
This is a movie I actually really kind of enjoy. This is a commentary about how too many Jewish families see a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah not as a coming of age for their son or daughter, but rather as an excuse to throw outlandish, outrageously lavish parties which end in drama. So, essentially, the bar mitzvah version of My Super Sweet 16. I mean, that's what literally every episode of My Super Sweet 16 was. Not celebrating the 16th birthday of your teenage daughter, but no, let's throw the most exuberant, loud, over-the-top party. And I think that's the idea of this particular film in general, and for that, I kind of have to admire it for that. This is a really good movie. It's got a really good cast. Gary Marshall is in this. His son directed this movie, Scott Marshall. Jeremy Piven, Jamie Gertz, Darryl Sabero from Spy Kids, Larry Miller, Cheryl Hines, Daryl Hannah. A really, really top-tier cast, and a really overall entertaining film all around. I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. It has kind of the similar problems to Just My Luck, but unlike Just My Luck, which was written just like a sitcom, this is also written like a sitcom, except you do get invested in the storyline and the characters as well. And that's what I really took from this movie in general, how much I really appreciated this film. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was a sweet story. I thought it was a nicely put together film. It was a film that really did come out of nowhere. I just remember seeing it with Giant Eagle when the video store was still there, and I figured I'll rent it one night, and I actually found myself really enjoying it. I thought it was a very entertaining film, very underrated film. I highly recommend checking it out. Keeping Up with the Steins. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we've got 3 more big summer releases, including Tom Hanks starring in the controversial feature film adaptation of the controversial book, The Da Vinci Code, directed by Ron Howard, of course, and we also have DreamWorks' latest animated feature, Over the Hedge, based off the comic strips, and starring Bruce Willis, Gary Shandling, and Steve Carell among its voice cast, and we also have See No Evil, starring Kane from the WWE. This was actually, I think, one of the first WWE films under that label they had out around this time, but we'll take a look at those 3 movies on the next episode. That'll be up tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please like this video, hit the subscribe button, and check out the notification button because we post videos every day here. Check out the plays on the next page as well as the previous episode. So, with all that said, before I get out of here, I should tell you that coming up later on Time About the Movies Flashback, we're flashing back to Halloween weekend 1987, which is fitting because Halloween was literally yesterday at the time of recording this. But Fatal Beauty, we'll talk about The Hidden, and also Sammy and Rosie Get Laid. So 3 movies, not as many as we've had on the last couple of episodes, but that'll be coming up in a little bit. So stay tuned because we will be right back with that after this.